New year, new magic. Let's discuss what is in the stars for your first week of 2024. Hi, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to Just Your Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrological weather report for the week of January 1st to January 7th, 2024, where we are discussing, just as we do every single week here in my Cosmic Corner with the Cosmic Beverage in hand, is discussing what is ahead for your week ahead, how you can bob and weave with the various celestial influences that we are working with within the week ahead. This week's namely Mercury stationing direct, Venus square Saturn, Mars entering the sign of exaltation, to name a few. So beyond just discussing this astrology, we discuss how you can co-create with this astrology in order to live your most magical and your most aligned life. Because this week has many gifts to seize, but it also has challenges to learn from. And this is a week that I am especially thankful that you are here. I'm thankful you're here every single week, but especially when we have weeks astrology like this, because it's important to know and to feel this in your bones. This too shall pass. Oftentimes when we are moving through something, whether it's good or bad, there is this feeling that it's going to last forever. We could be so deeply entrenched with our current circumstances that it's hard to even conceptualize anything beyond the current timeline that we are moving through. And where astrology can be so helpful in fitting into that picture is that it helps us tune into, oh, this is a cycle. How can I maximize this cycle? How can I learn from this cycle? And furthermore, how can I understand that the cycle will not last forever? Because especially if we're moving through something challenging, which I won't lie to you, there is some of that within this week's astrology. There could be an energy around feeling utterly defined by your current circumstances, by your current feelings of lack, by your current feelings of scarcity, by your current feelings of inadequacy, or whatever else is coming to the surface. There could be an energy around, wow, is it always going to feel like this? And I'm here as your astrological weather reporter to inform you that it will not always feel as it does today. And that's important to bear in mind. And that's where I think astrology can be so healing. It's just to acknowledge, hey, I'm feeling validated by what it is that I'm moving through that's reflecting the cosmos in one way or another. And when I can acknowledge that what it is that I'm currently feeling is validated by the cosmos, by acknowledging astrology altogether, you are acknowledging I am in a certain cycle, I am a certain rhythm, and this too shall pass. Good transits are on the horizon. But I don't mean to be all doom and gloom when it comes to your astrological weather report. Surely there is a rain cloud or two where it's going to be important to remind yourself it will not always feel like it does today. These rain clouds will pass. This season of my life will pass. There's also other influences that are very ambitious. There is good news for the idea people, the people who have all of the visions and all the ideas, but you don't necessarily have the bandwidth, the resources, or the actual energy to take them on. There is an energy around really wanting to yank our visions out of, the 5D, the 4D, it baking in the cosmos, the vision of it all, and really wanting to anchor it and materialize it here in the 3D plane or within our physical, tangible reality. I have great news for those individuals where you're like, I want to do this and I want to do this, but it just doesn't happen. Like, there can be an opportunity this week where it's like, okay, enough thinking about it. It's time to take action on it, because Mars, the planet of action and advocacy, enters its favorite sign in the zodiac, Capricorn, the sign of its exaltation. So a lot of us are really feeling this boost with Mercury stationing direct this week around, okay, I've been reviewing what's been working in my life, what's not working in my life, what ideas I want to take on, and now it's time to put some momentum towards it. Now, that's not to say that the journey is going to be necessarily easy. Mars is about putting in the effort. And with more and more the cosmos entering Capricorn as we continue on in January 2024's astrology, this is a Saturn ruled sign. Saturn is the planet of time. It is the planet of mastery. It takes time to build mastery. But there's almost this nudge within this week's astrology around, you can stare at the top of the mountain, you can envision yourself at the top of the mountain, but at some point in time, you actually have to start climbing up to the top of the mountain. And this week's astrology is asking you to take that first step. So we will discuss this energy so much more in depth thematically as well as day by day. But before we do, take a step inside my Cosmic Cafe. Let me know what you are sipping on to start your first week of the year. I personally am starting my 2024 drinking a cup of vanilla nut coffee that I snagged right upon landing an airplane this morning. I mean, talk about so much of the inner cosmos being in Sagittarius and Capricorn. Literally, I've been up since 4 a.m. traveling on an airplane to get back into my cosmic corner. Right upon landing, grabbed a coffee, got into my cosmic corner. It's like, I'll travel, I'll adventure with all Sagittarius energy, but we gotta get back to work with the energy of Capricorn. Magic Monday needs to go up on time. And since it's the beginning of the month, and furthermore, the beginning of the year, the new year is truly just a numeric change in the astrological cycles and rhythms. The new year begins come March, but nonetheless, in regards to looking out at 2024 for my life and for my business, I do want to say that there's going to be some changes, and I want to firstly apologize if something that I change is something that you have come to deeply value or rely on. I quite literally hate to let people down, but something that I'm so inspired by with the energy of Capricorn is the desire to do the best and be the best that we possibly can be, given the resources that are at our disposal. Desire to do the best and be the best with this vessel that we've been given, with this chart that we've been given, with these resources that are in front of us. And it is this energy around raising the standard of what it is that we expect from ourselves and of our lives. So within reviewing my business, just with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn the past couple of weeks, I've really been wanting to gain clarity on where it is that I can raise the standard of what it is that I expect from myself, where it is that I'm really excited to grow, where it is that I feel like I can create the most impact and the most value for you all. And it's led to a lot of really powerful illuminations around how it is that I really want to show up within 2024 and aspects of myself and my business I'm really excited to grow into. But something that's so heartbreaking about growth is that to grow means sometimes to outgrow certain components of our lives or certain components of our business. And it's heartbreaking, and I wish that I had 20 of me so that I could do all of the things. But I think also in the spirit of Capricorn season, just having to get really realistic about the resources that are at my disposal, the time that's available here, the aspects of myself that I feel like could create the most impact. Getting realistic about all of that has made me realize that there's certain things that I need to let go of in order to put forth the best of me. And honestly, I have so much more to say on that topic, and we'll get into it because I feel a lot of those themes are interwoven into this week's astrology. So we'll discuss it just in case you see yourself in what it is that I'm saying. But I want to get specific around what it is that you can no longer expect from me moving into the year or the first shift. If you are part of my membership options here on YouTube, I firstly just want to say thank you so much. It means so much that you have chosen to support the channel. I would not be able to do what it is that I do without your support. Thank you so much. It does not go unnoticed. Whenever I see a comment with one of those gold stars, it literally makes my heart soar. Like, I'm just so grateful for you all. I'm not doing away with the membership options altogether, only one tier. So if you're part of the Galaxies tier, I want to let you know your membership will be canceled within the coming weeks. On January 10th is the day that I'm canceling them. So when it comes to your membership, if you do want to continue to support the channel, you can jump into the Planets tier or the Comets tier. We're going to do away with the Galaxies, so it'll just boot you out of the membership. It's totally up to you. Do not feel like you have to jump back in at a different tier. I just want to let you know, just in case you want to still keep your star there. So the next shift and the tier that's no longer available on Magic Monthly, the membership, I'm no longer creating the digital astrological planners every month, and this makes me so sad, but I know it's necessary to do. So thank you so much if you've subscribed for the customized Magic Monthly calendars. It's been such an honor to be able to guide you within your months, for a lot of you within your years, like within your personal transits, like being able to be your little cosmic cheerleader. It's been such a pleasure, and I've so loved getting to work with you all and getting to work with your charts so much. Your memberships will be canceled moving forward. Alas, the reason why these are the facets of my business that I'm moving away from is because I think Capricorn energy gets us very realistic to tune into our realistic resources, and that's, our time. There's been a lot of illuminations that I'm over capacity, but also our other resources like talent or skill level. And I just feel like to get very realistic with my strengths, particularly as an astrologer, I don't feel that's writing. I can write, I put my heart and soul into those calendars, but I just feel like I do my best when I am verbally talking with you about astrology. Sometimes I get so frustrated when I'm trying to write and I'm like, I just wish I could transport what is moving through my brain into your brain. Like writing just feels like it slows me down a lot and it makes it very, very time consuming. I just don't feel like it's going to be aspects of myself and of my business and of me helping you with the cosmos, because that's my aim, that's my mission. I just don't feel like that's getting the best of me. And I want, anytime that you work with me, anytime that you watch a video of mine, I want to ensure that you're getting the best of me. And I'm just not feeling inspired to grow through writing. I also just understand that it's just not my talent or skill in life, and that's okay. It's okay to be realistic about our strengths and our faults. And last note, just from a content perspective, just so I can set expectations around what it is that you will find on this channel, I'm no longer feeling inspired around new moon and full moon forecast videos, so I just want to let you know I will no longer be doing those unless there's like a new moon or full moon that's really speaking to me. I'm just really honoring the data of what's coming up right now around what's lighting me up, where it is that I feel like I'm doing the most good and creating the most light bulb moments for other individuals with their lives and with astrology, and where it's just feeling heavy for me to show up. And may we all honor our heck yeses of our life, what's feeling really good, what it is that we're inspired to grow towards, and what heights we are inspired to climb, and also observing what in our backpack we need to let go of, what's feeling heavy, what's bringing us down, what's slowing down our pathways. May we all honor that wisdom and that knowledge. And again, I am so sorry if any of these programs, if any of that content was something that was helpful and has been something that you have come to rely on. I wish I could do it all, but I just have to get realistic. That's what Capricorn season is all about. And it means so much to me that you've chosen to support me. I am so excited by what's on the horizon in 2024. I had to make these decisions because there's things coming in that are amazing. And I just want to make sure that when you watch a video of mine, when you buy a reading, when you join for a class, you are getting the best of me and in a container that I'm inspired to continue to grow within. So I'll stop blabbering now. Thank you so much for listening to all of that. Those are just some announcements that I wanted to put forth in the first week of the year. Thank you so much for being here. I do not take you for granted. So next up, we will get into Vibe Check of the Week, which is a segment where we translate the astro speak into real life speak. So rather than just throwing terms and words at you, Sun square Chiron, Venus square Saturn, which doesn't necessarily elicit strong emotions within you unless you are very well versed within astrology, we essentially compare those energies to, do you know a situation like this? Have you felt like this? Has something like this ever happened to you? That helps you tune into how this energy will manifest within your universe down here on planet Earth. And when it comes to vibe check, I'm not saying the literal situation will happen. Sometimes it does. And when I read those comments, I'm shook to my core. But it's not so much saying that this will literally happen to you this week, but more so tune into the energy, tune into the vibe, as that can be an energetic that you are personally navigating. So this week's astrology feels like the following scenario. Let's say that you're just kind of like over your aesthetic. You're over your clothes. You're not feeling cute. You feel like you've just been sitting all December long. You haven't been active. You haven't been going outside. You're not in your moment. Okay. And so you decide, you know what, we got to turn this around, right? Even though it's Capricorn season, we have a lot of the cosmos in Sagittarius. Let's take this on as a quest. So you take a quest to one of your favorite boutiques and you choose some clothes that feel in alignment with the 2024 you. And as you are at the counter to purchase these items, you hand your card to the cashier and they let you know that your card has been declined. And at first you're like, there's no possible way. Like, granted, you did see the total and that was a little higher than you were calculating up here, but you're like, I know I must have enough to cover that. There must be some sort of issue here. So you check your account and you're like, there must be fraud. Someone must have stolen my card. There must be a mistake. And you see and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I bought that gift, and oh, I forgot that annual subscription came out. Like all of these little details that you had not observed, because keep in mind, on January 1st, Mercury stations direct, and it's been retrograde the past couple of weeks. Part of its retrograde journey was in Sagittarius, the sign of its detriment. So it could have been certain details that we were not observing, namely in this week's vibe check, like, oh, that annual subscription for Zoom came out, or oh, that present did turn out pricier than I had imagined, or this issue came up, or what have you. Like, oh, all these charges are mine and I don't have the money to cover these belongings. And you navigate a lot of different emotions when you're going through this. Like firstly, there's that energy of denial, right? But then you review the details, you know, with Mercury stationing direct, there's this energy around, oh wow, okay, there were certain things that I didn't see. Now I see them, and all I can do is move forward, right? All I can do is decide how to proceed. Okay, do I want to put these things back? Maybe put some of them back. It's kind of the energy with Venus square Saturn, not having the physical resources in order to indulge in all the beautiful things that we saw. You still purchased the yellow rain boots though. Those got to come home with you. You had enough to cover that. But there were certain things you need to put back on the rack, and you're disheartened by that. And you also can't help but make it a story, or make it something wrong that you did, or some way that you are messing up. You're like, yeah, I didn't get that many commission checks last week, or, you know, that client dropped me, and making your value tied up into your bank account, making it something bad about you or something wrong that you did, making this temporary situation a permanent fixture of your identity, which in turn is part of Venus square Saturn, which could be scarcity and lack feelings, but also Sun square Chiron over the weekend, dealing with these feelings of shame, feeling like the cashier is judging you, that your card got declined, and just wanting to run out of the store. You did get the yellow rain boots, but just feeling you want to run out of the store and never go back because you are so embarrassed. Like, how could this happen? How could I let this happen? How could I let my account get so low? How could I not be able to afford like a couple of shoes and shirts and rain boots? Like making it a you thing. But we do ourselves such a disadvantage when we make things that are, again, seasonal, not just our own seasons, but also collective seasonals, us thing. Like just to a financial standpoint, not that there's Uranus aspects this week, but Uranus is in Taurus, and we're all feeling the effects of that, of just money being really weird and inflation being really high and things being way more expensive. You might be still referencing like, oh, shirts and rain boots, that should be, you know, $80, and now it's a different story. And it's so dangerous to make that a you thing around, this must be something that I did wrong, when it's a societal problem and a season that we are moving through. It does not say anything about you. And all you can do in this vibe check is decide, okay, what am I going to buy? What am I going to put away? How do I need to look at my account with more discernment to really see what's going in and what's going out? Do I need to, you know, budget? Do I need to cut back? Do I need more income streams? What am I going to do moving forward? That's the pulse. With Mars ingressing into the sign of its exaltation, Capricorn, it's like, how am I going to move forward with an empowered way? And we can cry out in the middle of this boutique and shake our fists at the sky and say, why, and throw the yellow rain boots around and demand them to give us a discount. That could, I guess, be an option that you take. But Mars in Capricorn asks you to choose an empowered option around how to move forward, around maybe having to be realistic about your resources or your bandwidth at this moment in time, around, okay, we can't have the yellow rain boots and the white sweater and the khaki skirt. What stays and what goes back? Like, Saturn energy is all about playing within reality, and reality has limits. We are limited by time. We are limited by resources. And there's an ask this week to be realistic, to play in the realm of reality in order to find an empowered pathway forward, and to not make it something wrong that you did, or to make it a you thing and to never return back to that boutique because you are so ashamed. No one is judging you. And also, Capricorn season wisdom, no one's being as hard on you as you are being with yourself. All you can do is take the data and keep going. And that's what this week's astrology asks us for. So as you're hearing, there are some energies that are a little sticky. It's a little ouch. It's a little not having enough time for this, having to cut back on this, not having the money for this, not feeling loved here. Venus is also a planet of love. With Sun square Chiron, identifying who it is that we are with what it is that we do, feeling inadequate, feeling shame or guilt around where it is within society relative to everybody else. If you feel those sticky energies, there's a lot of beauty, we'll get into it, but if you feel those sticky energies, it's important to honor this is a celestial rain cloud and it will pass. The sun will return again. There will be a time that I will be able to take my white shirt and my khaki skirt and my yellow rain boots to the counter at this boutique, and I will be able to purchase them 20 times over if I want to. That day will come. This is seasonal. This is just a day. This is just a week within my life. It is not the full story. And furthermore, it is not the entirety of who it is that I am. It does not say anything about me, what it is that I'm moving through. All I can do is take the data and keep it going. So let's take this energy day by day so that you know day by day what you can expect. I want to let you know as I proceed, all times that I mention will be PST. Please make sure to adjust to your time zone if you are located elsewhere in the world than I am. There are timestamps below where you are welcome to jump to a particular day, jump back to a particular day, and you're welcome to speed me up or slow me down by clicking the playback speed on YouTube, as I know that I communicate with a lot of gusto. We'll say that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Monday, January 1st. So on Monday, January 1st, we start the year with Venus, the planet of love, beauty, money, squaring off with Saturn. And Saturn, yes, can be a little harsh sometimes, but Saturn is not harsh for no reason. Saturn makes us play within the realm of what is realistic, of the logistics of the matter. If we take it back to the vibe check, logistically, you do not have the dollars in your bank account to cover the rain boots, the khaki skirt, and the white sweater. That's kind of a weird outfit. Come to think of it, putting it all together, but alas. Realistically, you don't have the dollars within the bank account to cover that right now. So you kind of have to make some decisions around what are we keeping and what are we pausing for the next pay period or what have you. That's the energy of Saturn. Realistically, you can only be at one place at one time. And sometimes to say yes to our wholehearted big picture yes, I'm thinking that with Venus and Sagittarius, to say yes to that grand vision, we do have to say no to side quests that we are not necessarily motivated to go on, to say yes to ourselves. And with Venus square Saturn, it's just that energy around having to get realistic about our finances, about our love lives, about our social lives, about our beauty. It's not meant to be disheartening, but it's just saying, logistically, I only have the time to commit to one, social obligation this week because I'm building my business, and that sucks. But to say yes to the grand vision, I have to say no to some side quests. And that's okay. This will pass. There will be times in which I can get the white sweater, the khaki skirt, and the yellow rain boots. There will be time in which I'm able to say yes to all of the parties this week. There will be times that I will have parties to go to or have social obligations within my universe. That feels important to highlight as well, because Saturn can also deal with themes of lack and scarcity. So with Venus square Saturn, there could be an energy around even just being on social media and seeing everybody's fun New Year's Eve plans and being like, why am I such a loser? Why did I not do anything for New Year's Eve? And again, I'm not saying that to you. This week's astrology just feels like an energy in which you could be rather hard on yourself. So again, internalizing a current circumstance, maybe not feeling like you have the right friends within your universe or the right social group within your universe, making that season of your life something about you or a permanent fixture in how it is that you see yourself can be a danger with this week's astrology. And it is a week's astrology where you could be very hard on yourself rather than being like, oh, that party looks fun on social media, making it about you. Why am I so lame? Why do I not have friends? Why was I asleep at 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve? Hey, in astrology, the new year starts in March, okay? So no sweat, no pressure, no FOMO, okay? But with Venus square Saturn, there could just be this lack of either love within our universe. You could either be feeling really alone at this moment, or there could be an energy around feeling like your loved ones are very distant. There could just be life stuff getting in the way, like with Saturn and Pisces. It's like, I want to go on a date with my partner, but our water heater just broke. And now we have to use our date budget towards that, right? Or maybe your partner is really bogged down with work and you wanted to do something fun for a New Year's Day. There could just be blockages and hindrances in the way of you living your best Venusian life, right? Having the love life that you want, the social life that you want, the aesthetic that you want. You could be very hard on yourself around your appearance today or around your looks today. Hence why in the vibe check, that's why you went to the boutique, is because you were just like not feeling yourself, right? At that moment. And with Saturn energy, it's just so important to remember this too shall pass. These feelings of loneliness that you're feeling, maybe even just wanting to have fun, but feeling so bogged down with responsibilities around, I just want to hike today or go to this retreat or take this class, but I'm feeling so hindered by my responsibilities. I got to pay the mortgage. I got to raise these kids. I got to go to my job. Like, just the life stuff can be getting in the way of us living our most empowered, free lives, right? With Venus and Sagittarius. And it's so important to remember that this too shall pass. Sometimes you have to make temporary sacrifices for the big picture dream and vision of it all. Because as I highlighted, a lot of the inner cosmos is in Capricorn and Sagittarius. And these are both big picture signs, but in different ways. Sagittarius is big picture in regards to our sense of meaning. How is it that we envision our life and ourselves as the hero on our hero's journey? And Capricorn is how it is that we ascend to the peak of what it is that we are able to do within this lifetime, achieving our ambitions and actualizing our ambitions down here on Earth. They're both about taking a step back and reviewing the bigger picture. And sometimes when you take that step back and you look at the bigger picture, you have to get real and honest with yourself about what it's going to take to get there. Because sometimes it does take those temporary sacrifices in order to get to the big payoff. And if that's a season of life that you are in, I just want you to know that that payoff is coming. Like that sweet payday at the other side of these temporary sacrifices is coming, and it is sweet because you know what went into it. And for me, this energy reminds me of the period of my life when I was transitioning from working a 9-to-5, so AKA having a steady paycheck every 2 weeks that I could depend upon, to working for myself. I really had to cut back a lot of my lifestyle. I had to go without certain things in order to make that adjustment. Not that I've ever been an extravagant spender, but there is a certain lifestyle when you know that that payday is coming. I was just kind of in the scene of young professionals in San Diego, you know, the weekend brunches and happy hours and going out all of the time. And I had to go without certain experiences. I had to say no. And it sucked being at home and seeing like fun, you know, Instagram stories at the club or everybody else at brunch while I was just like working on my business. Like, it was not pleasant. It brought up a lot of feelings of FOMO and scarcity around, why am I even doing this? I could be making more if I just stick to my 9-to-5 rather than building my own dream. But I knew, because as delicious as I'm sure those eggs benedicts were at the brunches that I wasn't able to go to, or as fun as those nights out that I didn't go to because I needed to, you know, save money, or I needed to work, or I needed to get up early to work more, what have you. As fun as the nights out could have been, as delicious as the brunches could have been, and as cute of clothes that could have been awaiting me within the shopping sprees that were kind of like ingrained in my lifestyle at that time, like as fun, great as all those experiences were, nothing was as sweet for me than to build a lifestyle that I could call my own, and to build my business and to build my big picture dream. And I want to be real with you about that there were so many nights in which I was looking at my phone, seeing all of my friends dancing at Bang Bang in downtown San Diego under the largest disco ball in the West Coast. That's true. While I was just at home, working again, working all of the time, yet making a fraction of the salary that I used to make when I was in the more linear corporate path, watching all of my peers that were in kind of my industry elevate within their careers, getting to account manager and elevating their lifestyles, getting new cars, getting new homes. Meanwhile, I just felt like I was putting in all of this work, making all of these sacrifices, and the results took time. That's a huge part of Capricorn season. Results do take time. And Saturn, I always joke, I'm like, you know, Saturn is mean, but it's not mean for no reason. It wants to teach us mastery and wants to teach us endurance, like continuing to show up. Editing Haley here. I apologize for the interruption, but I wanted to add a little bit of context because I know that I was incredibly privileged and blessed to have problems like these. I know a lot of people are struggling to put food on the table, to keep a roof above their heads, and they would dream of a day to have problems around, oh, I can't afford going to brunch anymore. Like, I know that is absolutely an extra and not a necessity of life. And honestly, it wasn't so much that I missed the actual brunches themselves and that I missed shopping itself. I was actually fine without those activities. What bothered me and what was upsetting at that time in my life, and where I really felt that scarcity and lack energy that Saturn can bring, was around my social group. I would have never foresaw that transitioning from working a 9 to 5 to working for myself would take such a toll on my friendship groups. Like, my friendship group was a group of individuals who worked in a similar industry, all worked 9 to 5s, and I really thought that our friendships were genuine, that we would continue being friends even after I transitioned to working for myself. I didn't even think it would affect it. Like, okay, yeah, I can't go to brunches anymore and go shopping with y'all, but we can go to the beach, we can go to the park, we could do things that are free 99. We live in San Diego, it's beautiful here. But the vibe changed. I could no longer afford to hang out with them, and thus I did not see them. And I really did try to make an effort. And again, no one did anything shady. I'm not shading anyone, but I drifted apart from that group of people, and that's what I missed. It wasn't the actual brunches and the shopping spree, it was having friends. And it was a really isolating time of my life. It was a lot of work with no reward. I didn't really see people. The individuals who I thought were my genuine friends were perhaps not so, because I don't think any genuine friendship is contingent upon being able to afford eggs benedicts and mimosas every Sunday and to be able to go on trips. So that is where it was uncomfortable. It wasn't the actual brunches and the shopping. I was fine without that. It was my social group, which I didn't know it would have such an impact. And so I just want to say, if you're also in that space where you no longer kind of resonate with your friends, or you feel that energy of drifting, at this point in my life, I know that my friendships are deeply genuine and not reliant on us going out and spending money together. And that time of like hibernation and kind of being in my hermit era and just working on my craft and studying astrology, it paid off in my friendship groups, in my business, in so many different ways. So that's what I was trying to express in that story. By no means was I trying to garner pity, like, boo-hoo, I couldn't shop at a boutique or get mimosas on the weekends. Like, I survived. It was fine. But back to the video. And that's what makes the results, when they finally manifest, so sweet. It's because you know what went into it. You know what it is that you sacrificed, whether that was comfort of a linear path or certain social groups that you no longer resonated with any longer because you were building a different big picture. And those sacrifices, wherever they're showing up, it wouldn't be worth it if it didn't really mean something to you. Again, we have this combination of the Sagittarius energy of where is it that we're finding meaning, and Capricorn, what is it that we want to build towards? The reason these blockages or these hindrances or these temporary delays or this feeling of scarcity, the reason it is worth it is because it is your vision. It is something that you feel strongly about. That's what helps you continue to show up. If I didn't care, I probably would have jumped right back to my 9 to 5 after 3 months of trying, right? But it meant something to me, so I kept showing up. That's what makes these sacrifices sustainable, is when you are building it towards the big picture vision of freedom, with Venus and Sagittarius making the square, or that big picture vision of success with all its Capricorn energy. How is it that I envision success? And so whatever that is for you, that big picture vision of success, that big picture vision of meaning, whatever that is, it's so wonderful to be in that space of envisioning that version of yourself. But sometimes in order to actualize it and materialize it, we do need to play within the realm of reality. And the realm of reality sometimes asks us to make tough decisions around, no, I can't go to that brunch, I need to work on this project, or no, I can't take this on because I have to build this, or no, I can't because we're saving for my child's college fund, what have you. Sometimes you do have to make sacrifices, but when it is a big picture vision that means something to you, it is worth it. And with Venus square Saturn, I just want to say there can be a certain starkness that you're feeling within your love life, because Venus is what it is that we love. And with Venus square Saturn, there could just be an energy around there's not enough time and space to enjoy. There's not enough time and space to be around beauty. There's just, things are feeling cramped. They're feeling suffocated. And Venus in Sagittarius so craves and needs freedom to roam, to adventure, to arrive to that vision of success that we see within our mind's eye, what have you. And with the square to Saturn, we might not be feeling that now. And that's why it's so important within this week's astrology to understand sometimes it's just a current seasonal thing. This is not the grand majority of your story. And tomorrow you is so grateful for what today you is doing and how it is that you are showing up and executing your time, your energy, your intentions shrewdly and strategically. And knowing that sometimes you do have to say no in order to say yes to the big heart-centered yes. And knowing that sometimes you do have to say no in order to say yes to what truly means something to you. So with the Venus square Saturn, some of you could be feeling the ouch with finances in terms of after holidays, like, oh, I did not realize I spent that much money. I need to cut back in January for real. With Venus square Saturn, it could also be having to get realistic with love, right? Around what it is that we're envisioning and if there are any external or physical shifts that need to be realized in order to get closer to that vision. And with Venus square Saturn, there could just be scarcity that we're feeling, scarcity of finances, scarcity of love within our life, scarcity of validation within our life, scarcity of beauty. We could be very hard on ourselves at this time, but I just want you to know that this too shall pass, okay? This is a step in the journey. It's not the entirety of it. And that nudge to keep going and keep showing up and knowing that these circumstances are temporary is also reflected within Monday's astrology, because that evening at 7:08 p.m. PST to be exact, Mercury stations direct, which is a cosmic nudge to keep going. And rather than looking behind you or looking in the rearview mirror, it's asking you keep your eyes ahead of you on the road. Like even with that vibe check, right? You might be going home and kicking yourself around. Oh, I can't believe my card declined. I should have done this and this and this. All you can do is keep going. All you can do is look forward and just say, hey, that wasn't ideal. All I can do is strive to take the data and do better next time. Take the data and do better next time. That's all you can do in life. And with Mercury stationing direct, there can be a cosmic nudge to start getting excited about what could be. Something interesting about January 2024 is that when you're on a stations direct at the end of the month, all planets will be direct. And so there is this forward momentum that is aligning for you within the cosmos. And Mercury hasn't cleared its post-retrograde shadow. It won't do that until the 20th. But alas, there is this energy around eye on the prize. I've got to keep going. That's all I can do is just keep going. And I'm not saying the day that it stations at 7:08 exactly, you should sign contracts and buy all the technology and all of the forbidden things with Mercury retrograde. It's not saying that, but we can expect some momentum around wanting to look towards the future. What is it that I want to create this year? Rather than ruminating around all of the things that you feel like you did wrong within 2023, there's just this nudge around, hey, I can't change that. All I can do is continue to look forward and get excited about what it is that I will create this year. And I do want you to observe just what ideas are stirring within you on January 1st. What vision you're tuning into, where you are realizing that you do not have enough time, bandwidth, or space to accommodate that aspect of your life in order to accommodate the aspects of your life that you're so excited to grow within. Honor that data that's coming through. And the reason I say that is that 2024's astrology has this very fascinating full circle moment baked in, because Mercury is stationing direct at 22 degrees Sagittarius. And later this year, Mercury will also station at 22 degrees Sagittarius, the same portion of the sky. So by the end of the year, there might be interesting reverberations or reflections around the ideas that are stirring in you at this moment. So write them down, pay attention, notice what is inspiring you right now and what's feeling a little cramped, what's feeling a little stagnant, what's feeling a little blocked. Again, sometimes we just have to go through times of our life in which things feel Saturnian. We're having to say no, we're having to have boundaries, we're having to hang out with our friends at the park rather than going to brunch or what have you. Sometimes there is Saturnian seasons of our life, but if you've just been observing that there's an aspect of your love life or of your financial life that's not feeling in alignment towards what it is that you want to build, that's cramping your style, that's creating this energy around feeling blocked and stagnant where you don't even have the space or room to expand into new adventures or new opportunities, honor that feedback that's coming through with the first of the month. And so I know New Year's Day's astrology isn't ideal, right? But I would still love to know, what are you doing to celebrate? Are you celebrating? The moon will be in Virgo all day. So there could be an eye on your errands and your responsibilities and where it is that you are feeling trapped or blocked, where it is that you're excited to grow and feeling suffocated by what it is that you've already committed to. There can be acknowledgments of that. And honestly, with Virgo moon, perhaps feeling overwhelmed by what is on your plate at this moment, we are in the waning moon week. So when it comes to this week, I know I've been saying, it's go time. You have to take step 1 and step 2 and step 3. And I do feel like there's a lot of inspiration bubbling within the cosmos, but I don't want you to feel like you have to launch that book or like put all these things out there into the world, because the moon's waning. So it's more so an acknowledgement around what needs to go to get to that big picture vision of success in terms of your physical fitness, we'll say. What in your life needs to be let go of around, okay, I need to stop going out to lunch all the time and pack a lunch and walk instead, right? The acknowledgement of what needs to be let go in order to move closer to that big picture vision. Or for your business, maybe you're like, I really want to work on this project right now. What do I need to let go of? Maybe I need to say no to more happy hours. Maybe I'm over capacity with my responsibilities and I need to let go of a certain aspect of my business that's super time consuming. Maybe me and my partner have these exciting ideas to travel this year, but we have to get realistic about our finances and budgeting that in. Like, there could just be an energy. It's not so much about booking the trip and launching the book and all the things, but just observing what's the vision and what needs to be let go of in order to create the vision. Because when we're playing with Saturn energy makes us deal with annoying things such as time, such as resources, what have you. So there is this energy around having to get realistic around, I see the vision, what needs to be let go of, because again, the moon's waning, so it's getting smaller and smaller as we prepare for the Capricorn New Moon on January 11th. I love all the ones, 111. So as we prepare for that new moon, what needs to be let go of in order to build our vision of success? What has meaning for us? So the moon will be in Virgo all day, as I highlighted. It is in the waning gibbous moon phase. So this typically is about sharing of ideas, mentoring, giving back in some essence. So maybe some of you are giving back in some way. There can be a nudge around communicating, definitely talking about what is inspiring to you right now would be really powerful. If you do have a friend that you could discuss what it is that you want to create this year, or maybe like a vision board party or something of the nature, there can be a very grounded, pragmatic, but collaborative spirit in Monday's astrology. Again, there might be certain uncomfy concept that you are contemplating just with Venus square Saturn, dealing with lack, scarcity, and unhappiness within love, money, and beauty. But there's also this energy around, okay, realistically, how are we going to move forward? What are we going to create this year? Can be a nudge. And get excited. Think outside of the box, because that evening, Virgo moon will trine Uranus. And keep in mind, the Virgo moon is answering to Mercury, who stations direct that evening as well. So there can be some significant light bulb moments, some significant aha, some significant moments of inspiration. And it just feels like a day's astrology that's reminding you, keep doing what you've been doing, you keep getting what it is that you've been getting, which is all well and good if you've been happy with what it is that you've been getting. But with Venus square Saturn, there might be certain acknowledgments on Monday around, I've got to change something. Things won't change until I change, is really the vibe. And last manifestation, because I was changing out the battery and I caught that my mascara had smudged under my eye, which feels very appropriate to mention to you. Venus also has to do with beauty, style, makeup. And with the square to Saturn, some of you could have been gifted something for the holidays, we'll say, that now you try on and you're like, oh, this is not the vision. I do not like it. Or maybe you try a new makeup product and it is just not it. Like with Venus square Saturn, there just could be this energy of, coming in as it relates to our style or our clothes or our makeup. So not the most ideal, shopping day, Venus square Saturn, our card could get declined or something like that within the vibe check. But it's just cracking me up because this mascara that I've been using, people talk about it all of the time, and I'm so confused why they are lying. The Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced is so horrible, and I swear the girls on TikTok talk about it all of the time. So I was influenced, and I went to Sephora, paid too much money for it, just to have raccoon eyes every time when I film. I purchased it a while ago, so you might have noticed that within recent videos. I'm someone where if I buy something, I still keep wearing it because I hate to waste even if it gives us raccoon eyes. So I just want to highlight, I'm so sorry if you caught it in this video or if you caught it in past videos. It's getting to the point where I finally will not feel bad about throwing it away. I feel like I've used it sufficiently where it's not a waste of money. So anyways, just a PSA for the one person out there who might have been considering that mascara. I personally am unimpressed. Okay, all this Capricorn energy within the cosmos, we're all raising our standards for what it is that we expect from our lives and from our mascaras. So on Tuesday, January 2nd, you very well may not be in the mood. You might be listening to my spiel where I'm like, you gotta do all the things, you gotta make the sacrifices in order to go for gold and go for your visions of success. You might be like, Haley, Comet, that all sounds well and good, but I am exhausted and I'm not feeling motivated. I wanna let you know the more motivating energy of this week's astrology will come a little later in the week when Mars ingresses into Capricorn. The beginning portion of the week is just observing where it is that you are not feeling inspired. And I will say on Tuesday, you could be dragging your feet a little bit because the Virgo moon is in a T-square with Neptune and Mars. So you could be feeling exhausted. Maybe you had Monday off, now you have to go back in. You're just like not in the mood. You're just feeling drained. You're feeling exhausted. You're feeling groggy. You're feeling sleepy. The astrology for Tuesday is very much giving the energy when you've been out of office for a couple days and then you come back and your work bestie is also on at the same time as you are. And you guys basically spend the whole time like gabbing and joking because it's a mutable T-square. So you might be having fun, but I think a lot of us are going to experience there's fires to put out at work. Things are feeling hectic and we're just not feeling all of the motivation to take on all of the tasks. You could be being really hard on yourself with the moon in Virgo and trying to control the uncontrollable. All you can do is do the best that you possibly can do. Make sure to continue to reread, double check the details. Mercury's freshly stationed. Okay, let's give it some time. Let's give it some time to move into some new degrees. But with midday, around 3:30-ish is when the Virgo moon trines Pluto. So there is this energy around being able to tap into your power. So it might be more of a slow, sleepy start, but by afternoon time, you should be in the swing of things around, okay, we gabbed all morning. I gave you the tea on what went down at my family holiday reunion. Now we actually should do a task or two. I actually should go check on my table. I actually should go back to my task. Like by midday, you should kind of be in the momentum of things. But whether it's responsibilities that are scattering your energy or you're just feeling very scattered, the beginning portion of the day is just feeling a little hectic and all over the place, but simultaneously very sleepy and like not in the mood to be dealing with the fires that you're having to put out. It's kind of the vibe. Then the moon is void. Closing aspect is the Virgo moon trining Pluto and Capricorn. That was the energy I was telling you about around finding your power. And the moon will be void until it enters Libra at 4:47 p.m., which draws our awareness to our connections, to our relationships, to our one-to-ones. Hence why I was saying there's parts to today's astrology that could be more absorbed within, telling jokes. That's kind of all the mutable energy. And with the moon entering Libra, more concerned around work bestie and your relationships and partnerships and what have you. So on Wednesday, January 3rd, I firstly want to let you know that we are having the last quarter moon in Libra on Wednesday evening to be specific. And when it comes to last quarter moon, you may know that it's commonly referred to as the crisis of spirit moon phase. It's on the waning side. And waning moon weeks remind us, especially during Capricorn season, that success, whatever that looks like to you, because that differs for all of us. Success, yes, is largely about the addition, right? Putting out your ideas, putting out your songs, putting out your Etsy shop, what have you. A lot of times it is the addition, adding more to your schedule, and sometimes it's the removal. Sometimes it's the letting go of certain aspects of your life that help lighten your load in order to build what it is that you are building more efficiently and more effectively. And with the last quarter moon, there can be this crisis brewing within you around something that you are feeling called to let go of. And so for a few of you, there can be a crisis brewing within you around a certain connection that you are feeling called to release during this time, a certain connection that you could have outgrown. Maybe Venus square Saturn made you realize, I envision success like this, and you do not see the future as I do, and these are incompatible, right, with one another. How it is that I envision my future and how it is that you envision yours. Sometimes Venus square Saturn means having to make tough decisions around our love life. And with the last quarter moon, there can be this aha moment, this light bulb moment around a certain connection that we are needing to release, or at least a certain pursuit of validation from other people that we are needing to release. For you to build your vision, you will have to let people down. You will have to say no. You will have to have tough conversations. You will need to prioritize yourself in order to build what it is that you want to create. Now, it's not to say you won't have meaningful connections within your life, people who will cheerlead you and support you as you climb to the top, right? I'm not saying all of us need to go on this journey entirely alone, but sometimes there are seasons where we have to acknowledge that there could be someone within our universe that is actually creating roadblocks in regards to what it is that we are wanting to create. When I was on the plane today, my music was just on shuffle and the song came on and I'm hearing it within my mind. And the line goes, "Do I love what I do more than I love you? I might." And I remember that like stuck with me when I was on the plane. And I think it stuck with me just so it would come through in this moment, because I feel for some people, there might be this acknowledgement around, I do not have the bandwidth for this. I do not have the bandwidth to be perhaps the perfect partner to you, or the perfect friend who's there, or the perfect consultant who's there. I do not have the bandwidth to be that for you. And it's not to say that everybody will be going through a breakup or having to fire a client or enact boundaries with a friend, but I do feel like there is this release around needing that validation from others, or making ourselves wrong, because this last quarter moon is involved in a T-square with Chiron, making ourselves wrong for needing to prioritize what it is that we want, or the visions that we have beyond what it is that we do and what it is that we are for others. The road to your own success will be paved with having to let people down. And that's unfortunate. It's a part of growth. Again, stay in integrity with yourself, be a kind and compassionate human, strive to be the best that you can be. I'm not saying we all need to be like utterly selfish, but sometimes you do need to acknowledge, do I love what I do? Do I love what it is that I am creating more than I love being the perfect person for you? I might, and that's okay. You don't have to demonize yourself for choosing yourself or choosing what it is that you're creating. When you say no to the brunch because you need to stay in to build your business, you might get a text from your friend around, come on, you're so lame, you need to come out. When you are telling your partner that you guys need to cut back on date nights so that you can save to go travel abroad, they might be a little disappointed. When you tell your boss you're not able to sign up for that additional project, they might be disappointed. I think it would be a red flag in life if you're never letting anyone down ever, because that might be a sign that you are building other people's dreams and visions above your own. And again, a lot of times those paths are together. I'm not saying you have to do it alone, but if you just feel like a lot of your energy has been around building things for other people, this last quarter moon would be like, whose validation am I waiting for? Or why am I maintaining this connection that doesn't want me to be fully empowered and actualized within the vision that I have within my future? And also with the last quarter moon in Libra, because Libra is answering to Venus, who is separating from her square to Saturn earlier in the week, there can be this acknowledgement on what in your life is feeling imbalanced. And that might be financially, certainly. Maybe there's more withdrawals and they're all deposits. And this last quarter moon could be like, how do I get things more in balance, where there's money flowing in, there's money flowing out, so that I can purchase the skirt and the sweater and the rain boots, right? There could be an imbalance that you're observing within your connections, a lot of giving and not enough receiving. There can be an imbalance that you're observing within your workload, right? You're taking on too much, you're over capacity, and you have to get real around what it is that you have bandwidth for, where it is that you can cultivate more balance. Balance is an eternal practice. Ask Libras, okay, they might be the sign of balance, but they're continually striving to find it for themselves as well. And in the last quarter moon in Libra, it might be acknowledging, what do I need to remove from the scales in order to balance these aspects of my life? And furthermore, to create more freedom with the moon sextiling Venus in Sagittarius. So to a very practical level on Wednesday, sometimes we do experience last quarter moons as feeling very busy, feeling very chaotic, feeling like there's a million things that you have to do and not enough, resources or bandwidth to do it all. And I would say with the moon sextile Venus in Sagittarius, you can be more inclined to, flirt with your work crush, if you have one, or at least infuse some beauty into your day to day, right? If you're noticing that you're feeling really imbalanced around, you've just been go, 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 the moon sextiling Venus asks you to slow down, strive to find some balance. You can take lunch. Like, I guarantee it will not be the worst thing ever if you step away from your desk for like 20 minutes to have a conversation with your coworker, to eat a salad, and then get right back to it, or to go for a walk. Like, there is a call for balance. So while the last quarter moon, especially in Libra, a lot of people could be demanding things from you, or there could be a lot going on. Remember that success is a balanced lifestyle, and sometimes you have to say no in order to find more of that balance within yourself. Success is a balanced lifestyle. Also, with the sextile to Venus and Sagittarius, see where it is that you can have a little bit of fun in the chaos. Find some humor in the chaos. Enjoy the process of what it is that you're building. The chaotic vibe also within the cosmos is because Mars is at the anaretic degree. So people could be a little bit more sassy with you. People could be a little bit more hectic, making their problems your emergency, okay? Poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. If any of you have to repeat that on Wednesday, if you're dealing with people who are trying to make their problems your problems or something of that nature, obviously show up. We're here to connect. We're here to partner and collaborate with others, but also acknowledge where it is that you can stay in your lane, set expectations, and not feel like it's your job to be the perfect person for everybody else, because that's simply not possible, nor is it the pathway to achieving your own vision of success. So on Thursday, January 4th, I come bearing wonderful news, because Mars, the planet of action, assertion, advocacy, enters its exaltation of Capricorn, and it's very happy here. Mars likes to solve problems. Mars does well transiting through territories where there are problems to solve. Hence why Mars rejoices within the 6th house of the natal chart. 6th house has to do with day to day and the prevention of illness and small animals and errands and all of the stuff that our daily life entails. That's why Mars likes to be there, because Mars likes to solve problems and get things done. And so with Mars in Capricorn, we are feeling more energized to get things done. Like I said, a lot of these initiatives and even these ideas that you've had circulating in your brain, it will take time. Mars is in a Saturn ruled sign. The reason I highlight that is because the things that are really worth having don't come easy. And that's what makes it so validating and so gratifying. And with Mars in Capricorn, I just want to set your expectations with this energy, and that the work is never done. It just gets deeper. Growth is never done. You are constantly raising your standards for what it is that you expect from yourself. And Mars in Capricorn likes to do stuff. You personally might be listening to this and be like, okay, Haley, Comet, Mars might like to do things, but I personally do not want to do things. I would like to lie in bed and eat bonbons. But Mars in Capricorn can be kind of the kick in the butt around, okay, my life is not going to change until I do. And it's taking that first step on that journey up the mountain, right? It's no longer looking at the mountaintop around, this is what I want. With Mars and Capricorn, it's like, okay, it's time to start doing it. But it's beyond even just the first step. It's also committing to the second step and the third step. Mars and Capricorn will gift you with endurance to consistently show up. Mars in exaltation isn't the most pleasant or pleasurable energy ever. It has gifts, it has abilities, but it doesn't hit like Venus in exaltation, where we're just in the mood to feel good and have lovely romantic experiences. With Mars in Capricorn, we are inspired to tackle issues and problems and take things out of the vision of it all and into our material reality, which a lot of times takes hard work. It takes tough decisions. Sometimes with Mars answering to Saturn, it takes having to get realistic about what it is that we want to build and what it is that we have to say no to in order to build that vision. It's us feeling more empowered to handle the hard stuff of life. Okay, it's not so much an expansion of the good stuff of life. It's more so feeling more enthusiastic and encouraged to take on and handle problems head on. So if there's like not that Capricorn has to do with our home necessarily, but like, let's say there's been a home improvement project that you've been putting off, but because you don't want to call the person, you don't want to figure out how much it's going to be, you've just been avoiding it. Mars and Capricorn can be giving you the courage in order to take on the problems of your life head on. And it also is this energy where we're no longer content just envisioning what it is that we want. We're wanting to make it happen. Like with Mars in Capricorn, it really is this energy around seeing the vision. Okay, I want to get there, and reverse engineering the steps of how it is that we get there, right? It's like, okay, I want to be at the top of the mountain. I want to be feeling good. So what do I need in order to have that vision happen? I need to pack enough water. I need to have trail mix. I need the right pathway, right? This is not a transit that's going to take us on a helicopter to the top of the mountain, okay? But it is this energy where we are feeling courageous enough to take the first step and the second step and the third step and the fourth step and the fifth step and the sixth step, and then all of a sudden you'll be at the top of the mountain. But what's so fun is that the work never stops. When you're at the top of that goal, a new one will emerge. That's why I'm saying Mars likes to do stuff. We do like the process of becoming. Like, I know a lot of us think, okay, if I could just be on the beach drinking a margarita and just meditating all day long, that would be my vision of success. But actually, where it is that we experience the most well-being and the most happiness is when we are working intentionally on a goal that we have chosen for ourselves, becoming the best version of ourselves. That can be such an intoxicating feeling. Because even when I think about that time in my life that I was telling you about, around when I really wasn't going out because I was just, working all of the time, I couldn't shop, I had to cut down all of my expenses, I was dealing with a lot of worry and stress and anxiety because I had never worked for myself before. I was used to like a steady paycheck, so I had to get used to this new normal. But what got me through was what it is that I was building. That was such a high, being able to tune into what I wanted to create, and I had so much passion for it. And even though the results took a long time to materialize with my external world, the internal growth was showing. Like, I was starting to realize that I was getting better at my craft, that I was getting better at running my own business, that I was getting better at time management, and that was filling me up. That was intoxicating. It was a different high than, brunches and going out and whatnot. Definitely wasn't a path for everybody. We all have different visions, and like what it is that my peers at that time, what it is that they built, it's no comparison, because we're just building different visions of successes. And I had to get so high on the vision of my own success, even when materially it had not showed up yet. I had to get so high off the vision of what it is that I was building that it was able to sustain me. It was able to keep me going. And it can be an exciting space to be in, and to remember what it is that you're building, because there's going to be moments in this journey that you feel disheartened. Whatever it is that you're building, it might look different than being, self-employed. It could be building the family of your dreams, building the creative endeavor of your dreams. Whatever it is, there will be moments in which you will doubt yourself. There will be times that you don't know if you can arise to the challenge of what your circumstances are asking for you. There will be moments in which you will have FOMO about what it is that you have had to say no to in order to build your yes. There will be hard parts in the journey, but the emphasis of Mars in exaltation is that it's game. It's game for the hard parts of the journey. It's game to handle the issues that come up within daily life with courage. It's game to see the vision of our success and reverse engineer the steps to make it happen. And it's game to take our visions and make them happen within reality, because that can become your new normal. That can become your new momentum. And this transit sometimes can be frustrating because there can be this energy around the work is never done. It never stops. There might be a project that you're trying to get through at work, and now you're finally done with it, but now a new issue has come up, or a new project is on your horizon, or you just finished one aspect of your house and now you're realizing you want to redo this other aspect. Like, the work never stops. And it's all about how it is that you define the work. You could see it as something very stagnant and annoying, or you could see it as an opportunity for you to actualize your talents, for you to make impact on this world, for you to create your dream reality in whichever way that shows up, professionally, creatively, within your family life, what have you. You get to decide how that work operates within your life. It does not need to be clocking in and clocking out. It's just what it is that you are striving to accomplish, striving to become, striving to arise to your best version as. And the only other aspect on Thursday is that the Libra moon sextiles Mercury in Sagittarius. So great day for big ideas, great day for big brainstorming sessions, great day for even going to people for advice. Remember to be around people who inspire you. Remember to have inspiring conversations. Remember to brainstorm with other individuals about what's lighting you up, about what's not lighting you up. You never know the sage wisdom that somebody else could share with you in hearing what it is that you are saying. Sometimes we don't see it from our own vantage point. And sometimes when you connect with someone else, they can see the big picture with a little bit more ease than you can. So sometimes, you've been harping on this certain problem within your universe, and then a friend of yours is like, well, have you tried this? And you didn't see that, because oftentimes when you're so identified with the problem, you can't necessarily see the solution, and someone from the outer perspective can. So what I want to say on Thursday is just honor the inspiration, whether that comes through in a conversation, that comes through in a podcast, comes through in a YouTube video, comes through in a TikTok, okay? Honor the wisdom that comes to you in every single format, in every single way. We are here to learn from one another. We are here to learn from one another's wisdom. The journey may be on our own, but luckily we have different voices and teachers as we are on this journey. Thank goodness for that. So on Friday, January 5th, I want to let you know that Thursday, January 4th, and early Friday, January 5th, your emotional state might feel plunged into a more intense place. It's uncomfortable to change. It's much easier to keep doing the same thing over and over, even if you know it's not serving you, right? It can feel really uncomfortable, and sometimes we can't even conceptualize what's to the other side, or why it is that we are feeling called to release some aspect of our life at a given point in time. I keep highlighting release simply because we're in a waning moon week, but there can be emotions that are swirling within you, or this energy of fear around where your life is transforming. Like maybe Mars and Capricorn made you feel more empowered around, okay, I'm going to start my own business. And then with Moon square Pluto, it's like, but what if it's a failure? What if I'm a flop? Or what if I have to quit my job and then I'm fully on my own? With Moon square Pluto, we could be tuning more into the loss aspect of Pluto rather than the gain aspect of Pluto, which I know sounds silly, but when we contemplate Pluto, yes, it is this planet that has to do with grief and letting go and loss. And oftentimes, the biggest yes of your life, that birth of that heart-centered career, will be at the death or at the release of many projects that came before it. You having a child will be a loss of who it is that you were prior to that point. Like, life is a continual process of the births and the letting go. And it just feels like with Moon square Pluto, we're looking more so at what was or what's falling away, especially with the Moon passing the South Node. There's intense emotions that we are conceptualizing, and we're more rooted around the fear or what's changing, or what's letting go. We're not able to conceptualize what's coming in, right? Because Pluto goes both ways. It doesn't just destroy us just for its own sake. It destroys us in order to rebuild. Pluto is the creator and the destroyer. It's important to highlight when it comes to Pluto energy. But it just feels like on Thursday night, Friday, there can be certain anxieties or fears around how things are changing, around how you are feeling this call to rise up, to solve these problems within your journey, to tackle this next iteration of your life. And you might not be certain if you are capable of it. But again, all you need to do is take one step, and then that step will lead to the next step, and lead to the next step, and lead to the next step. And I feel for some of you, there's a major shift that you're feeling into, but it has not yet arrived. And what I want to say is, when you know, you know. When you know, you know. And oftentimes we could be in this fear and anxiety around, I feel changes coming in, but I don't know where. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be okay. And it's this very mystical concept. But if some of you are craving change and you're not sure when, how, where, with who, or what is going to come into alignment in order for you to claim this change, do not squander the time that you have in this chapter of your life fearing for when the next chapter is starting, because it's so strange. But one day you will just wake up and the air will feel different and the colors will look different, and something within you will just tell you it's time. Like, when you know, you know. And with Moon conjoining South Node, squaring Pluto, it's like we're feeling into the change, but we're fearful of the change. And so one step at a time, okay? That's how we get to the top of the mountain. We take the first step and the second step and the third step. So the moon will be void for about an hour until the moon enters Scorpio at 4:39 a.m. Of course, the moon is not particularly enthused to be here. The moon is in its fall in Scorpio, so it's a little uncomfy. We're dealing with some deep emotions that we feel utterly submerged within. Now, you can utilize this energy very helpfully, honestly, on Friday by getting lost in things, getting obsessed with things. I do believe to a certain degree for you to build a particular vision, whatever it is, sometimes you do need a season of getting obsessed with it, getting obsessed with being the very best musician that you could be, the best ice skater that you could be, the best tarot reader that you can be. Sometimes you need to like get obsessed and lose yourself within the process of ascending to what it is that you are building. It just feels like Friday is a great day to get lost in what it is that you are creating. Like, you gotta want it, right? And Scorpio is very desirous energy. And so there is this energy around wanting to submerge ourselves deeply in what it is that we desire and be willing to transform ourselves in order to get that. Because with the Scorpio moon sextile Mars and Capricorn, there is this acknowledgement that sometimes we have to lose ourselves, or this iteration of ourselves anyway, to arise on the other side as that, you know, entrepreneur that you see in your mind's eye, or that professional pianist that you see within your mind's eye, or that influencer that you see within your mind's eye. Sometimes you have to disappear, hermit away. I want to say that with the waning crescent moon. Sometimes you have to hermit, get obsessed within your craft, and pop up a different version of yourself. Because like I said, I went through a season where I was not out and about. I was not at the brunches and at Bang Bang. I was just obsessed in my craft. And then when I started to have the bandwidth within my life to be able to have a social life again, I was different. It was a different version of myself. Like, to get what it is that you want will take many reinventions or many mini deaths, whatever it is that you want to call it. Because Scorpio is the phoenix. Sometimes we have to burn down who it is that we were prior in order to rebuild the version of ourselves that we really want to be, our higher self. Because I had to burn down 9 to 5 Haley. So dramatic, but really, I mean, she had a lifestyle that I could no longer continue to live if I wanted to be my higher self, the version of myself who's most actualized, and building something that was heart-centered and soul-centered. And I mentioned waning crescent moon is simply because we're preparing for next week's Capricorn New Moon. And the moon phase right before a new moon, oftentimes we can be feeling more introspective, we can be more withdrawn. And again, just honor that as a season of your life. If you're not feeling particularly inclined to be out and about, to be everywhere all of the time, no plant blooms 365 days a year. Okay, we all have seasons. Don't feel like it has to be sleigh after sleigh, or that you need to be out and about every single weekend. Whatever the pressure is for you within your season of life, whether it's pressures to keep up with your friend group, or pressures to keep up at work, or what have you, honor the seasons and the rhythms of your life. And by midday, the Scorpio moon opposes Jupiter. Now, when it comes to this energy, Jupiter can bring good emotions sometimes, but this particular aspect does feel like you could be expanding some more negative ones, perhaps, especially since the sun is building to square Chiron. With Scorpio moon, you could be making things a catastrophe, dealing with some really big, really dramatic emotions, blowing something out of proportion. Maybe you're experiencing somebody else blowing something out of proportion, making something a life or death scenario when it does not necessarily need to be that. Take it all in stride. It will not always feel like it does today. If you're on the more positive side of moon opposite Jupiter, you could be feeling more generous. You could be feeling more indulgent. You could be feeling more intimate with someone that you hold dear. Because like I said, waning crescent moon, sometimes we can feel more in our own world, but with Scorpio moon, really honoring who it is that you have deep intimacy with. So on Saturday, January 6th, the Capricorn sun does square Chiron in Aries, and this can create some spiky emotions, we'll say. And a lot of it can be coming from trying to keep up with the Joneses, okay? With the energy of Capricorn sun, sometimes, not always, okay? I'm not saying this to you. If you're a Capricorn placement, there's so much more to your sign than just this facet of it. But a shadow side of Capricorn season is identifying what it is that we do with who it is that we are. So looking left and looking right at our peers, at our social group, at whoever is around us, and and measuring up in accordance. And again, people can be expanders for us. They could be motivators for us, but it also, with this energy, can feel very disheartening around, wow, it just feels like everybody's earning more money than me. Or within my industry, it feels like everybody else has this thriving podcast and I've been trying to build up my downloads. Or maybe looking at, mommy bloggers, you're like, it feels like all these moms have it all together and they do all these crafts and I don't feel like I'm there. There could just be this energy around looking around and just feeling like you don't measure up, internalizing it. Like I said, that it's something wrong that you did. That was part of the vibe check this week, because it's so important to remember that you are so much more than the capitalistic benefit that you create for this world. You are so much more than your bank account at this particular moment in time. You are so much more than what your clients say that you are, or that your customers say that you are. Granted, it's Capricorn season. We're wanting to do the best and be the best that we possibly can be. But it's so important to honor that you are a multifaceted person. And there's many different components to success beyond just professional. And we all have different visions of success. So you really can't compare what your vision of success is to others. If you were to look at that time of my life that I was telling you about, when I was watching all of my friends ascend within their careers and live these fun lives and go traveling and whatnot, you would have called me a flop. You would have looked at the numbers, and when you decided to leave your job, earn less, work way more, that's a flop. If you were to quantify that year for me monetarily, you would say that was a flop. And that was a waste of time. But that's not taking into account the other components of success is. That was a huge growth year for me. That was a huge year about mastering my craft. It was huge for me in ways that could not be quantifiable. But again, people have different visions of success. It's not a wrong thing to want a lot of money and want a lot of prosperity. I'm not making anybody else's path wrong. It's about not competing in categories where you do not compare. And it doesn't make you any less than if you happen to prioritize other matters out of life. And again, with the energy of Capricorn season, it's about being realistic. We have a finite amount of time within this life, and we all have to put it towards our own priorities, and ours will look different than others. Sometimes you have to have a year that's heavy on the growth so that in 5 years' time, you can have a year that's heavy on the finances. Sometimes it does not happen overnight. And so it's so important not to internalize or feel like you are wrong for comparing yourself when you're just like a little budding seedling to other people who have already grew and mature within their season, or their priorities different than yours. You don't know the full story is what's important to remember with Capricorn Sun square Chiron. You just know your story. That's why Capricorn Sun square Chiron, you are seeing everybody else's highlights and successes and everybody else thriving, and I'm in Europe and I'm doing this. You're comparing that with your real life, the unfiltered raw aspects of day in, day out, what it is that you are working towards and creating, which life is not glamorous, right? Some of you could be navigating some feelings around success being an amplifier, or certain problems emerging within your career or within your business that ping at more tender, vulnerable parts of your journey and of your story. Because oftentimes, if you work for yourself, or if you have a soul-centered endeavor, there are parts of you that you weave within it. So it can be hard when I tell you not to take it personally. You are so much more than what it is that you do. It's also about who it is that you are. That might be hard to hear if you are somebody who really identifies with what it is that you do and take a lot of pride in what it is that you do. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I want to say with Capricorn Sun square Chiron, there can be certain parts of your journey and where it is that you're healing that are interwoven within your work. For example, if there is a story within you around certain abandonment wounds, that could come up when a client decides to cancel a contract with you or not renew their contract with you. It could bring you back to that very tender part of your journey around feeling abandoned. And again, it's different circumstances. Business is not personal. It's so important to have boundaries with that. It's not saying anything wrong with you. You are not what it is that you do. You don't know their business objectives. You don't know their initiatives. You don't know what went into that decision. It's so easy with Sun square Chiron to be like, well, I'm a failure and this is why everybody leaves me, because it pings at a deeper story that exists within you. you. That's just an example, but just observing where it comes up around, you know, a comment on your business account that pings at a tender spot within you, right? Or contemplating a new career that you want to create, but having this energy around, could I possibly do it? Like these familiar old wounds getting in the way of what it is that you are building. Success is an amplifier. Oftentimes when you ascend to success, when you create something, it amplifies old stuff and on a bigger scale now. And it really is about, okay, this came up. What is it we're going to do with it? Well, say for the sake of the vibe check, when your card got declined, there could have been this sensation of scarcity, like feeling like how you felt when you were 6 years old and, you know, your parents weren't sure how they were going to put dinner on the table, like feeling that moment. Obviously, it was just a khaki skirt, a white sweater, and rain boots. Life will go on, but it comes back to that energy of scarcity and fear, and it triggers something much deeper. Like that is the sensation that Sun Square Chiron is giving, and your ego could be taking a hit. You can be feeling very down on yourself, very hard on yourself. And it's important to allow yourself the energy of vulnerability. With the energy of Capricorn Sun, a lot of us could feel like we always need to be projecting this, you know, vision of success, and I've got it all together and I've got it all figured out, right? And with Sun Square Chiron, it's okay that you're a human being, that you're vulnerable, and that you are ascending to be the best that you can be. No one's expecting you to be to your final version. And the final manifestation that I want to bring forward within this is, it is not selfish for you to build your vision of success. Like I said, sometimes you'll have to let people down. I'm not advocating being a rude or mean person, but with the energy of Capricorn Sun Square Chiron in Aries, there can be uncomfortable emotions surfacing around, am I selfish for not wanting to do this job anymore? For not wanting to have these responsibilities anymore? For not wanting to advance within this career path anymore? Am I selfish for wanting what it is that I want and for advocating for my vision of success? If you don't build your own dream, you will build other people's. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think part of this week's astrology asks you to be the CEO of your own life. And you have to get out of your own way around feeling like it is selfish or bad to want what it is that you want, or that you're not worthy of wanting what it is that you want. So there is an energy around, for me to arise to my higher version, I do need to prioritize myself and not feel wrong or bad for wanting what it is that I want. And not feel wrong or bad that my desires are different than my peer groups, or different than my social groups, or different than my colleagues. Like, it's no longer feeling bad about it. It's no longer competing in the same categories, because it's like, I'm in a category of my own. I don't want what you guys want. I can remember that was a big light bulb moment for me when I was working at my 9-to-5, as I was just kind of looking at my boss and looking at their life and at their job and at their day-to-day, and having to get real with myself around, I don't want that. And this path is leading me to that. That is the end result of this particular path. So I got to switch timelines because I don't want to go there. I'm looking at that mountaintop and I'm like, not for me. That's what I can only hope to get. Like, that is the pinnacle of what this path would allot me, is what this individual has. Do I want that? And if I don't want that, why am I in this path? Right? And it was also this acknowledgement around not feeling guilty for wanting what it is that I wanted out of life. Only you have your desires. Only you have this vessel and this chart, and it's up to you to actualize these desires within yours. And I also just had to rectify the guilt within me around wanting something different and having these desires that I wanted to fulfill, and feeling ridiculous for even wanting it, for going a different path, right? For not taking the linear route, for having to deal with other people's, doubt that I could make this happen for myself. Like, it's challenging to carve a new path for yourself. And with Sun Square Chiron, there could be doubt that's coming into your experience. There could be certain ego punches. There could be certain circumstances that come up that bring you back to familiar old stories that exist within you that could make you want to give up. But like I said, Capricorn's about endurance. There's going to be moments on that hike when you see the mountaintop of what you want and you're climbing up there. There's going to be times when you're like, am I strong enough? Am I fit enough for this? Did I practice enough for this? Was I smart enough to pack enough trail mix for this? Did I choose the right route? Do I even want to go to the top? How bad do I want to go to the top of this? There will be challenging moments, and it won't just be external boulders and external challenges. It'll also be internal self-doubt, feeling like you are selfish or wrong for wanting what it is that you want. But it's Capricorn season. You got to keep going, got to keep showing up with the external challenges as well as with the internal. And so also on Saturday, the moon's in in Scorpio all day. It sextiles Capricorn Sun. And so again, get obsessed with who it is that you are becoming. Get obsessed with rebirthing into the most powerful version of yourself in the most powerful timeline. Be open to the changes necessary in order to get there with the Scorpio moon opposite Uranus to a very practical, mundane level on Saturday. Yes, there can be certain external circumstances that kind of ping at something deeper with that Sun square Chiron that happens a little after midnight. So you could also feel that on Friday as well. But it would be a great day to take on a new challenge with moon opposite Uranus, invite the flow of the new and the novel into your journey. And also on Saturday, great weekend to release, to shed, to let go, to surrender, whether that's physical belongings that you're feeling inspired to let go of, going through clothes, going through stuff, going through possessions can be really powerful. I say this because we're in the final moon phase before the new moon next week, which is an aligned time around release. Again, that could show up with an emotions that surface that are asking to be felt and then let go of. That can just be a feeling around there's just too much stuff in your house or in your closet and you're just like, this all needs to go. Like I said, sometimes success is the addition of good positive habits, addition of the tasks that will get us to the top. But sometimes it's in the subtraction around, I have too many distractions within my world. I need to get this clutter off my desk. I need to get these clothes out of my closet that no longer feel representative of the person I'm evolving into. I need to clear and organize my schedule to only take on the most important tasks that are going to get me to my vision of success. There can be a nudge around what needs to be let go of. And definitely pay attention to your dreams on Saturday night as the Scorpio moon is building to trine Neptune, which can definitely make things a little interesting in the astral plane. So on Sunday, January 7th, very dreamy start to the day with the Scorpio moon trine Neptune and Pisces. Could be an optimal time to make blueberry ricotta pancakes and look deeply into your lover's eyes, or to have a lazy start to the day, listening to a record, staying in bed, you know, Grandpa Joeing. Does anybody else call it that? We call it that because in Willy Wonka, Grandpa Joe just kind of stays in the bed all of the time. So when, you know, we're having a lazy morning or something, we call it Grandpa Joeing. And I am such a proponent of Grandpa Joeing. I have an exceptionally hard time getting out of bed. Some people like spring up like a jack in the box and just start their day. I need to drink my coffee. I need to acclimate to the day. I need to make peace with being awake. I need time. I need space. I need a Grandpa Joe. It is kind of a problem. My 2024 resolution might be to get a quicker start to the day. So let me know if any of you have any tips for how to get out of bed. Oh my God, it's so hard for me to just get out of bed. So all I want to say is that we need those moments, okay? We need time to luxuriate in bed and just read and contemplate what could be. And Sunday morning might be a really optimal time for that with the Scorpio moon trining Neptune and then sextiling Pluto at 12:22 p.m., at which point the moon is void. So important tasks we must avoid until the moon enters Sagittarius at 1:08 p.m. So again, with a lot of the cosmos in Sagittarius, now the moon as well, and with the waning crescent moon in Sagittarius, it might be asking what needs to be let go of in order for me to feel more free within my universe. Do I need less stuff around me? Do I need less responsibilities within my universe? Do I need less negative self-talk messages occurring within me with Sun square Chiron still separating? There can be an eye towards freedom and what's hindering or blocking your sensation of freedom with the Sagittarius moon squaring Saturn in Pisces. So there might be this energy around, I want to adventure, I want to be in nature, I want the space and the bandwidth to take on these new projects, but I feel so stuck, I feel so suffocated, I don't have the room to grow into that. And just observing what you are feeling inclined to release, let go of, whether it's emotions within you, stuff, aspects of your life, honor it as wisdom. And so my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I am the CEO of my life. I know I talked a lot this week about business and entrepreneurship and working for yourself. even if you do not work for yourself, have no interest in entrepreneurship, you are the CEO of your world. And you have a finite amount of resources in front of you. And sometimes we do have to step into our role of being the CEO of our universe and reviewing things very pragmatically around what's working, what are you inspired by, and what are you feeling more inclined to let go of. Whether you work for yourself or not, you are the CEO of your universe. And it might not be, overseeing the marketing department and the accounting department, what have you. It's overseeing the health department and the relationship department and the creativity department. It's overviewing all of the departments of your life and empowering yourself as a competent decision maker in every facet of your life. And understanding you having a bird's eye view of all of these different facets of your life and reviewing it very pragmatically, have to make the decisions in order to create your vision of success. You might prioritize different facets of your life than the person next to you. It's your life, it's the business of you. So this week's astrology asks you to step into that role as the CEO of your universe. And as the CEO of your universe, sometimes you do have to let other people down. I hope you guys can feel my heart when I'm saying this. I'm not saying we should be rude and mean to other people, but all I'm saying is when you embody the role of building your own dreams, of being the CEO of your own universe, you are essentially demoting yourself from building other people's dreams in the vision of you that they had within their story, right? And sometimes for you to say, that's your dream, that's not mine, or that's what you want from me, that's not what I want from me. Sometimes you have to let people down in order to say, hey, I can't go out with you tonight. I know that's what you want from me, but I need to oversee my health department today, or I need to oversee my budgeting department, or whatever it is. You have to get comfortable letting other people down in order to build your most successful business of you. So my loves, that is our week special fresh off the airplane edition of Magic Monday. If you made it to the end of this video, if you could drop below the boots emoji or use the word boots within a sentence to let me know that you made it to the end, to give a shout out to the yellow rain boots within the vibe check. Again, sometimes we have to step into being the CEO of our universe to say, hey, our resources look like this, our desires look like this, let's make some budget cuts for the big picture payoff, to have a healthy bank account and the khaki skirt with the white sweater. That will happen one day. Sometimes we just have to be patient, okay, with all the Saturn energy in the cosmos. So my loves, I will see you next week, same time, same place. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.